Well, good morning to our member community and our global family tuned in from far and wide. I'm Dr. Nadine Rogers, and I am deeply grateful to be able to share the principles of living a spiritual life with you. Our theme for April is Stepping into the Unknown, where we get to explore the ebb and flow of both personal and spiritual realization and revelation as a path of becoming an open and receptive conduit for the wholeness of spirit to pour forth. Here at CSL Parker, we learn how to apply practical spirituality to our everyday lives based upon the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes called The Science of Mind and Spirit. Now, Dr. Holmes summarizes his teaching as a correlation of the laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelations of world religions applied to human needs and the aspirations of man. Now, we do live in a spiritual universe, and therefore we are spiritual beings having a very sacred human experience. But we come together in community to remember and remind each other that everything we think we need or lack is always right within us. Together, we learn to be a student with humility and awe in the vast power for good within us and within this world. We come to understand that ours is to walk each other home, and that we teach by how we live, and that how we live becomes our prayer. The Center for Spiritual Living honors all faith traditions. So let us begin our time together by lighting the candle, the unity candle, in honor of all faiths. We light this candle knowing that we are all on the path to God or the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit or infinite intelligence. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all diverse faiths, thought, and experience, which, again, we honor here today. As I acknowledge both my multiplicity and my unity, I come to a place of inner peace. And I hope that our offering today brings that inner peace to each one of you. So, knowing that the truth of all life is sourced and present right here, we know you are blessed right now. So, sit back and relax and enjoy your time with us. Beginning with what's happening at CSL Parker.
Good morning, CSL Parker. As a reminder, next Sunday's 10 o'clock a.m. service will be in person at Cimarron Middle School. Join Reverend Phil as he continues with April's theme, Stepping into the Unknown. In fact, the title of his talk is Your Left, Your Left, Your Left, Right, Left. How could you miss this? Remember your masks, your personal chairs, and you may bring your drink in a beverage container. Be sure to stick around after today's service for After Chat with Dr. Vern at 11 o'clock, where you can discuss Dr. Nadine's insightful message. Minister Selection Committee update. We have received our first application for our Round 2 of Open Pulpit. We are doing an open call for new Board of Trustee members. If interested, please contact the chair of the nominating committee. That would be me, Kim Morse. Deadline for applications would be April 30th. Our benevolence tithe for March went to the Colorado Healing Fund. The Colorado Healing Fund provides monetary assistance to victims of mass tragedy. CSL Parker is offering 3 new classes. In fact, the first one, a workshop, begins today. Join Dr. Nadine as she facilitates Manifesting a New Reality. The class starts this afternoon from 12 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. Get ready to empower and manifest through your sacred connection to the infinite creative intelligence. You will find the registration link in the e-blast. The cost is $45. Dr. Nadine is leading another course entitled Prosperous Me, which runs May 3rd to June 2nd from 10 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. Be ready to cultivate your connection with the universal laws of growth, correspondence, circulation, and attraction. Participants receive a 31-day, 20-minute-a-day prosperity boost via Zoom. Your personal investment is $89 plus the book Prosperous Me. The registration link is in the e-blast. Our next Science of Mind accredited class to consider, entitled Mental Equivalence, will be led by Reverend Phil beginning Tuesday, May 4th, running from 6 to 8 p.m. for 5 weeks. It is based upon Emmett Fox's book, The Mental Equivalent, which is also the required text. The registration deadline is April 27th, and the sign-up link is in the e-blast. The personal investment is $145 plus the book. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy beautiful music.
There is no holding back. Power in the room right now, rising up as a force of love so high it can't come down. Every soul is a soul on fire, burning bright with the light of love. Here we are, open wide, there's no place we can't hide. We sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet, spirit move. Everything, spirit move. In the space between, spirit move. Like a river deep and wide, rolling out like a mighty flood. Love's filling every heart and pouring out of us. Through the breaking down these walls, building everybody up. It's taking over now, there's no way it can stop. So we sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet, spirit move. Everything, spirit move. In the space between, spirit move.
Dear ones, this is practitioner Jan Hobbs inviting you to hear these words as your own and join me for a prayerful meditation today. I know my divine presence is a faithful companion within and without. I embrace that secret and sacred power within. I have no hesitance to be with the unknown on a conscious level. I remain flexible, hopeful, and trusting. I am open and comfortable with the possibilities and creative nature that's expanding and benefits all of life. I can be anything and no thing at the same moment in the eternal now. I trust my divine presence to guide and protect me in a position of higher consciousness and ever-expanding life experience. I surrender and release all thoughts, words, actions, reactions, feelings, judgments, opinions, and emotions that are unlike love, for the greater glory of His name and my highest level of consciousness, right here and right now. I am grateful for the revealing of truth, for my optimum health, wealth, and well-being. For me and my fellow travelers of this earthly journey, I will leave a legacy of knowingness meant to excite the creative nature and to live that same creativity in body, mind, spirit, and emotion, always. I see that all that is necessary is curiosity and an attraction to truth, which is complete, total, and self-sufficient. Again, all that is necessary is curiosity and an attraction to truth, which is complete, total, and self-sufficient. I experience and release this legacy and ever new joy of God, and as God breathes and lives in, through, and around me forevermore, and so it is.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Well, good morning, CSL Parker. I'm delighted to be here with you once again. Today, we continue our exploration of this month's theme called Stepping into the Unknown through the idea, the doingness of beingness, and how we can begin to hold these ideas in harmony. Our teaching, The Science of Mind, supports us in understanding that in order to be one with the God of our understanding, there is something to do. Believing is seeing, states the principle of wholeness and the law of manifestation. And it is our contribution as co-creation of our experienced reality to believe and then to see. It is both the why and the how of spiritual mind treatment, the scientifically effective affirmative prayer created by Dr. Ernest Holmes as an effective way to move us into seeing. But often the idea of doing this feels laborious. And indeed it can be when the feeling of spirit is missing. I hold doing this as a mental and physical activity in which we are either conscious or not, beingness as mindful, connected in a spiritual state with the presence. So let's come to the place where we agree that doing this can be conscious and unconscious. So, in other words, connected with self, spirit, or not, whereas beingness is a mindful, connected spiritual state, inclusive of both ego and essence. In mindless doing, we are often creating avoidance, aren't we? Escaping through helping others, checklists, addictions, all to distract ourselves from the overwhelm or indecision around the busyness of our lives. Brooke Hamilton said, "No, we don't need more sleep. It's our souls that are tired, not our bodies. We need nature. We need magic. We need adventure. We need freedom. We need truth. We need stillness. We don't need more sleep. We need to wake up and live." Now, I've noticed that I'm often just as busy in my doing to prepare for my beingness as I am in preparing for my becoming of more than I think I am. Where is our focus when we are doing? Well, it's often scattered and ahead of ourselves, isn't it? And where is our focus when we are being? Well, it's everywhere with regards to the sacred unity of all life, and nowhere at the same time as to either process or outcome. When we are being, instead of having mental focus, we have sensate or energetic embodiment of what is. Spiritual attainment is a fundamental transformation of the I from a separate, limited, and contracted identity into a rich and infinite one. It is a movement from separation to union. And one of the first steps I have come to realize in this process of spiritual attainment is focus, to observe and understand the chaotic and fragmented nature of the ordinary self, and to understand that a very practical integration and harmony can be achieved. This integrated self is like the drop that contains the ocean. At the dimensionless center of our identity is the creative potential of universal intelligence. So let's talk a little bit about fragmentation. We are forever in parts, yet wish to be whole. We're distracted and yet wish to concentrate. And we're often scattered and yet wish to be focused. We are scattered to the extent that we yield our I to every impulse. We say my likes or dislikes, my feelings and my pain, and we diminish that I to the proportions of our momentary personal reactions. This I becomes enfeebled and is absorbed in all these passing states. At one time, it is absorbed, perhaps in a compulsive unconscious act, at another, in a vague anxiety. But from moment to moment, the next time it moves through us, it could still be likes and dislikes through various motives and preoccupations. Its attentions quickly shift from being occupied with what is in front of it to entering into a daydream of sorts. And some sense of the I is identified with each of these events, but there is little abiding presence. We are fragmented when we wander from our own center. When our attention is merely reacting to outer events, or when it is being dominated by something, it loses contact with its own source. Attention is a sacred faculty, but when it is drawn to whatever pulls the strongest, it has no force of its own. It is a mere passive reaction if intention is not connected to will. A human is not really fully being a human. So in either doingness or beingness, we must play a part to bring ourselves to the center of it all. When we know that there is nowhere to go but to be fully present right where we are, connected within and therefore without, these two seemingly opposing concepts meld into one, and grace appears in all that we be and do. So that being said, what is the doingness and beingness? Well, I would like to propose that there are two key elements which form the doingness of beingness. The first of which is personal. It's the act of focusing to summon and engage our will, to gather back to center our fragmented self. And then the second is impersonal, the universal creative process at work creating everything out of itself. So let's move back to the first one, focus. The distractions and demands of outer life can really diminish our presence, can't they? If we're continually reacting to outside influences, we have little strength left for the inner life. Because we have been dispersed, we need to be gathered. Because we have become fragmented, we need to become whole, to collect ourselves and let our light be stronger. I don't believe that anyone can transform one's ego before it has become integrated. Some may say they're the same thing. To integrate our ego into essence of being is like a seed achieving its greatest expression. It must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To some who don't understand growth, it would look like a complete disaster and destruction. But on the spiritual path, we learn that to be identified with any single function, such as thinking or feeling, is to lose that comprehensive self-awareness we call presence. It is to be without that I am or isness that stems from our deeper being, from beyond the superficial mind. So in other words, if we are single focused on one thing, we are literally losing that grander self-awareness we call presence of all things. When we become integrated, I think our experience of self is really composed of, yes, our mental, emotional, and physical energies that are operating in a unified way in the present moment. And there comes this wonderful feeling of alignment, of congruence in our behavior, in our body language, our speech, and our emotional tone. I think the secret to developing an integrated self is to intentionally extend awareness to more than one function at a time. For example, if we are focused solely on an emotion and become aware then at that time of our breathing or our physical sensations, we have generated more presence. This too can be noted as the doingness and beingness. Now, for those of us who live mostly in our heads, repetition rather of limited thinking, if we add an awareness of something physical, such as our breathing, and come into touch with our feelings at that moment, we again have extended our presence greatly. There is a higher harmonizing force operating when all our parts are brought together. Now, sometimes this harmonizing force may be produced by circumstances, as when a strong emotion temporarily integrates us by bringing us into full awareness of the moment. But if we can increase our ability to intentionally integrate all parts into the unified whole, we will become masters of ourselves rather than slaves of our egos. If we can but gather ourselves to that non-dimensional point of our own identity, everything is subordinated to this point, this I. As this I, this capacity for presence develops, and it becomes our connection to infinite light. This is precisely the point where doingness and beingness merge, become one thing, or in other words, where all doingness is mindful and the act within itself serves to promote beingness. Albert Einstein was a transcendentalist, which was part of the New Thought movement. And he, such a wise man, so progressive. He says, we exist in an environment where we must face the negative manifestations of other egos as well as those of our own. We pick up tension from our environment and we produce it ourselves. It is essential to earn and learn to relax within the tensions of life. We cannot escape conflict in this world, but we can learn to relax within it. This has nothing to do with running from conflict, and certainly nothing to do with repressing it. This relaxation has aspects of trust, of surrender, and submission. Harmony is necessary. We need some tension in our lives to keep us from becoming complacent and self-satisfied, but we also need trust. I know that the act of listening, meditation, and spiritual mind treatment help me to trust that I have the power to be whatever in a moment, to gather myself into the center of my essential self, my core, back into that place where I can access and activate the infinite creative intelligence and direct its power for good in my life. Albert Einstein continues to say, we are slowed down sound and light waves, a walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. This is my favorite part of what he says. We are souls dressed up in a sacred biochemical garment, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. So what does it take to slow our attention down? I think it can be called the first act of will, and it establishes the relationship between the observer and the experience, which raises the level of experience and transforms that biological automatron that sometimes we feel we are into a very sensitive being. It is sensitivity that makes the difference between being nominally awake and experiencing life as the gift it is. Now, I know that almost everyone has an area of their life in which some sensitive awareness can be developed. Some find it in painting, some in, I don't know, playing softball, maybe others in meeting people, and still others prefer spiritual practice. But if you manage to sustain the fresh edge of sensitive awareness through the circumstances of their daily life, a change in vibration occurs when we move from passive attention to active attention. When our attention is passive, we are merely reacting to a random stimuli in the environment and within our own psychology. We are weakened and fragmented by various demands that occupy our attention. But an active attention, on the other hand, allows us to be receptive and whole by connecting us to the source of will, a willing conscious I-ness, a more unified and harmonial or harmonized, where's the word I'm looking for? Harmonious, I think I'm trying to say, presence. Change in every level takes place in active attention. And it continues to build upon itself and create more and more energy of its own kind, which brings increasing freedom from the processes within our mind. It allows us to listen in on our thoughts more clearly and feel our feelings without being attached to them or giving our power over to them. It really is the beginning of knowing ourselves to be this beautiful sacred witness. And meditation, I often find, helps to develop the observer in me and move me from identifying myself with my thoughts and emotions to literally freedom from thought and emotion. You know, there's no need to have intention or direction in meditation, but eventually we will face the necessity of action, which is the sole objective of spiritual mind treatment, to actively establish in conscious and subconscious mind the truth of the nature of all life and its relevancy to all of life and its transformative gathering and manifesting power. So speaking of focus and active attention, I want to share an illustrative story with you. It's called Chopping Wood. The student says to the master, when I observe my mind, what I mostly see are strange and unknown thoughts that come to the surface and disappear again. I really have little control over what they are. And the master says to the student, well, this observation should be maintained, but there is something more you can do. You can gather positive thought, life-affirming thought, and direct it anywhere you like. You can, for instance, visualize people who need this kind of thought and simply direct it to them. The student replied, you know, later, master, I was chopping a particular stubborn piece of wood, a piece of elm that had been given to me by one of the older men in the camp, who I think expected that I would not know that it can be split only with great difficulty. Now, I had struck it once and with great effort had pulled the axe out of the gnarled grain that held it ever more tightly the deeper I struck. Listening, the master approached his student and said quietly, here is an example of what we were talking about. You have struck the wood once. Can you gather your mind and put the axe exactly into the first cut? Try that now. So the student gathered himself and swung, and it came down half an inch to the right of the first cut. Well, he tried again, and the axe came down half an inch to the left of the first cut. The master said, well, all right. It has been a very long time since I swung an axe, but let me have it. And when he handed his cane over to one of the students, who were very surprised he could even stand without it, he swung the axe and it struck the wood. Master said, now pull it out. The student went over. When he pulled it out, there were only 3 cuts. The axe appeared to have struck the center cut exactly. The master said, now you try again, but with enough strength to split it. So the student took the axe from him, and with a clarity and confidence that had never been his own, he swung the axe right through the elm, leaving 2 halves on the ground. And so it goes with us on various levels of experience and awareness through this human journey as we, the lover, dance with the beloved. It feels like our struggle is against human foes or worldly things, when really we are fighting against cosmic powers. Those unseen forces for good that are stationed in our inherent nature as the creative force within, and those unseen forces that are projections of our shadow selves. The lover and the beloved. 13th century Persian mystic, poet, and professor of law and science, Jalaluddin Rumi, was very much into his head. And synchronistically, one day he met someone named Shamsa Tabriz, who was very rebellious in nature, who was said to stand on the threshold of both worlds, who also was said to hold divine secrets with no one to share them with. And he met Shamsa. And at that point, and soon after that point, it was said that Rumi actually lost his life, his mind, and as he knew it before. And he would fall into trances, and he was never able to actually write again. It was said that he simply uttered his divine realizations through an open heart. And today, of course, both the relationship of the lover and the beloved and the writings of Shamsa Tabriz and Rumi have been immortalized in literature in their beautiful poetry. I often think of their meeting, as was told, and I see it relevant to a really familiar internal conversation, which continues to play the ego and the essence off of one another, eventually bringing them into oneness. And so I share this little role play with you. So the ego says, my pain is too intense, I can't breathe, let alone move. And the essence says, I am eternal space and time, and am breathing you. The ego then says, all I can see is darkness. And the essence says, I am perfect vision. The ego says, I can't let go into the darkness. And the essence says, I am the light. And the ego says, but what if I don't come back? And the essence says, I am eternally present as whole and complete. And the ego says, so no matter my thoughts and feelings, I am whole and complete just as I am. Ah, the ego says, presence. What happens exactly in the stillness of being? The ongoing impulsion of the universal creative process. which we call love. Universal being continues within us constantly, absorbing and releasing energy in exacting measure to that which we most deeply believe and feel with conviction to be true about who we are. And so at the most rudimentary root of our being is the act, the doingness of the universal creative process, life begetting life. You are no doubt aware of the analogy of the moth that is drawn to the flame of fire. In our unintegrated state of becoming, we, like the moth, might dance around the edges of the fire, too weary and too frightened to be consumed. When we are integrated into the sacred truth of being, we allow hearty transformation to occur within and without. If consumed by the fire, by the divine light, darkness is lifted and our true vision is restored. Divine light transforms the soul into itself. Fire transforms a piece of wood back into fire. Now the wood has inside itself the properties of fire, and it performs the work of fire. It is dry and it dries. It is hot and it heats. It is bright and it illumines. It is much lighter than before. Fire creates all these properties and yields all these effects. The Great Spirit is all these properties and is all these effects. The doingness of being follows then, as our willingness and in the choosing and allowing of the ultimate and infinite intelligence to create in, as, and through us and transform us. Each of us, a divine human, born with the inherent freedom to choose to be, and in that engage in and unleash our sensitivity to the beauty, the intelligence and grace available within both our inner and our outer reality as the one and only reality. Life is a blessing, and so are you, and so it is. Amen. I invite you into a personal investment called Sacred and Faithful Giving, knowing that there is an infinite flow of prosperity and abundance that is operating in and through us at all times, no matter our present circumstances. We can open to expand our consciousness of acceptance by giving with a grateful heart. And you know, when our souls are fed in this way by the practice of giving, we can be certain that our gift blesses both the giver and the receiver many, many times over. And so we receive and appreciate your gifts and your tithes. And we thank you so much for supporting us to remain a vital and thriving center in which all of us can find our spiritual nourishment. So for your convenience, we do provide you with various ways in which to make your donation. You may donate on our website, www.cslparker.org/donate, or via Zelle, or if you are more comfortable mailing in a check, please do so to this office location on your screen. I invite you now to affirm your prosperity through the power of your own word by saying this together with me. I attract all good things into being. The power of my faith enhances my experience of health, relationship, finance, fulfillment, passion, purpose, and joy. The creative source in my life is in a constant state of perfection, freely giving itself as my bounty. And so it is. We're so glad you're connecting with us today, because together we raise the vibrational energy of love and send it out globally to help create a world that works for everyone. And now, please enjoy our offering song.
God
Let us join together in prayer. Oh my, we've been blessed by everyone's presence here today and the presence of all those who came together this morning from far and wide. All is well here. You know, as we continue to shift and change and welcome through welcoming our own curiosity and our courage to ask the deeper questions, we remember to take that gentle pause and see where we might feel disillusionment that lies within us. And it is in this moment that we can more lovingly embrace our humanity, our sacred humanity, our divine humanity, and the divinity in all living things. It is in this moment that we breathe deeply in gratitude for the life we have been given and for the knowledge that Spirit is present, accessible, and moving within the life of all humanity in perfect right action, guiding us and it in ways to unconditionally nourish and support ourselves because we are the gift of God. And in this, we leave no stone unturned. We affirm our capacity to live with unparalleled faith in the divine creative process which unfolds in our lives right now, and joyfully give the fullness of ourselves to whatever and whenever without measure. Isn't this wonderful? We take each breath and make it an opportunity to affirm the presence of the Most High, expressing and experiencing itself right where we are. Oh, life is such a blessing. Thank you, Spirit. We are a blessing. It is a blessing, all of it. And so it is. Amen.
Tried to cut these corners, tried to take the easy way out. I kept on falling short of something. I could have gave up then, but then again I couldn't have, 'cause I've traveled all this way for something. I take it in but don't look down, 'cause I'm on top of the world. Hey!